I don't know, I was always fascinated by motorbikes, cars, competition cars, engines, engine noise, technical things. This fascinated me from childhood. The point with motocross. It was kind of difficult. First of all, I had no idea what I'm doing. I just had an old bike and I had some friends, they were competing in some local championships, and I was just, I throw my bike on their van and I started with some club championships. And then I took it a bit more serious, or I realized what kind of races I can do. It was with Swiss Junior Championship, National Championship, and then International Championship. I started to do European Championships. But I had a job aside. I was a mechanic, a motorcycle mechanic, and I didn't have much money, and it was very, very expensive, and I had to take a lot of days off. And I struggled. I struggled with the training and everything to manage everything together. And when I found myself in the European Championship, I would say, nowhere. And I was 23, 24, I think, and I ran out of money and talent, I guess. I couldn't really take the effort needed to compete on that level. Plus, if that happens in motocross, you get a lot of injuries. You have accidents, and then you broke some bones or whatever. And that was always a big setback. So I finally, 24, 25 I decided to stop and to focus more on a business career. Spa is a little bit like a small Le Mans, because Spa you have, as we had this last weekend, some of the track is completely wet, some of other parts of the track are completely dry where the sun is shining. And this can happen at Le Mans as well, with the track 14 kilometers long. So for us as drivers, we learned which tires we're gonna call from the team in which situation.
Love and hate somehow. It's an amazing place with always brings some special conditions. We had a forecast of a little bit of rain, and then during my stint it started, the heaven opened. It was absolutely undrivable, crazy. I couldn't see anything. My windscreen inside got damaged. Yeah, it was even behind the safety car. We struggled to keep the cars on track. There's so much standing water. There's some rivers crossing the track, and even if you don't touch anything, you just hold the steering wheel, off throttle, off the brake, and the car is you lose the car. So you're just lucky to keep it somehow on the track. And then after the start, when we went back to green or behind the safety car, you don't see anything. It feels, especially not when we go up to Camel Straight, it's just one wall of water, and there's standing water, so you never know if there's another car spinning and it's coming your way. Yeah, but I survived somehow. I was all in all 3 hours in the car. I was kind of lucky or happy, I have to say, when they called me in and say your driving time is over. So yeah, got a little bit unlucky with a penalty. We had I was a bit too late entering the pits or on the speed limiter. So yeah, got a penalty, part of the game. Let's see what we can do. Still, I think 2 or 3 hours to go, and maybe we get some surprises. Conditions are better now, but I'm done for today. So I sold everything. I had a van, I had a motorhome, I had bikes, everything. And I was at this time already a big fan of the Formula One, and especially Ferrari. And when I sold everything, the first time in my life I had money. I had the money in a bank account. And what have I done? I bought a car. I bought a Ferrari 348 TS. It was beginning of the 90s. I think we had a bit of a recession then, so the prices were a bit down. So I bought that car, and I started to look more into it and being interested in car racing. I was already before, but I didn't have much time to go and to see. And then I went to my first Formula One race, 94 it was, Imola. No, 95, 1 year after Senna died. 95 in Imola. Never forget that. Mansell was racing, Alesi was racing, Mansell in the McLaren, in the Big Mac it was called, because he couldn't really fit into it. But it was amazing, amazing weekend. As you have seen, I have plenty of phone calls and phone conferences. That's the good thing on my job. I can work from everywhere. I am major shareholder of some companies, and I'm taking care of some of the projects we have there. But just more as a chairman and not as a project manager. I have my project managers, they do a fantastic job. I'm involved in complete different industries. One is data visualization. I have a team in Germany. We have a big team in India. We work with smaller clients, very big clients, international clients, Fortune 500 corporates, and so very challenging projects. And for the bigger ones, I'm more or less directly involved as a supervisor, but it doesn't mean that my presence is required every day. So I can balance all the requirements from being a racing driver and a businessman. But often we have a test, and I ask my engineer to plan my driving time according to some calls I have to do. And I think every gentleman
racer knows what I'm talking about, because there's not just work and racetrack, there's all the preparation that goes on alongside, like the training and traveling and all that stuff around, yes. How do I prepare for a race weekend? So I work out a lot. Cycling is one of the sports I like to do very, very much outside of racing. I do gym, I do boxing. If I'm not paying attention on nutrition, I will just be a fat ass. You know, it's very easy, straight. Sorry, let's be honest. No, I think it's very important to, in and out of the race car, to be able to deliver your performance, to do your training and all that stuff. So I had to pay attention. I realized that quite early, and I couldn't really find the proper way. So I had to develop my own system, which is obviously working now quite well. So yeah, I do a lot. I measure everything, every meal, almost every meal is planned, is scheduled, is measured. I measure all the macros, the proteins, the carbs, the fat, and all that stuff, and I have a daily target. And I do boxing. Boxing is something I quite like, and I have a coach. He was a world champion. He's almost 2 meters tall, so for me it's very difficult to reach him. But no, it's just for training purpose. So I don't have any ambition to do competition. It's just for high intensity training.
My name is Janusz Niedlisbach. I'm a 6-time kickboxing world champion. I'm from Switzerland, and we are here in the beautiful Zug in the Phoenix Fight Sports Center. Christoph and me, we've been working together since many years. The good thing about Christoph is he's not only training hard, he's also really into the nutrition and everything together, so we know his body very well. So it depends how much he eats and what times. So his progress is huge when you're really focusing on the nutrition as well, and that's what I like about him.
It's very difficult to describe passion. You can only live it. I think that's a quote Enzo Ferrari said once, and it's absolutely true. And we are here in Piacenza at the AF Corse headquarters. When I come here, it feels like coming home to my second family. The 488 GTE wasn't really new to me. I own myself one of these cars, with which I compete in ELMS in 2020, and also in the 24 Hours of Le Mans 2020. We got the chance to have one of the last year's pro cars for our season this year. So I'm very thankful to Enzo Ferrari and Ferrari itself to let us the car, which was so successful last year, for which we can use in our racing program this year.
Io sono Andrea Mercatelli, attualmente mi occupo della coordinazione tecnica del reparto GT3. Qua praticamente è il posto in cui le macchine vengono preparate per la pista, quindi si completa la preparazione prima dell'evento, e qui ovviamente dopo l'evento le macchine vengono revisionate, controllate e preparate per l'evento successivo. Quindi un po' è il cuore della preparazione, e forse anche il posto in cui si costruiscono i successi e la prestazione in pista, perché ovviamente in pista si va a ottimizzare il lavoro e la preparazione che viene fatta a casa, perché seguiamo tanti campionati GTE, dove principalmente si compete nella WEC e nella Le Mans Series nella categoria Pro e AM, e poi ovviamente i campionati GT3, che sono sia campionati nazionali come il campionato italiano GT, sia campionati internazionali come il World Challenge, in cui spicca la 24 ore di Spa, e molti altri campionati.
Then you need to go out of the pits. Maybe when you're out then and the AC or the fan is...
Vorrei dire, lo vedremo alle Mans, in cui c'è un impiego di forze parecchio grande, considerevole per AF Corse, forse l'impegno principale in cui saranno coinvolte dalle 100 alle 150 persone. In officina dipende dai campionati e dagli eventi, perché quando parte la stagione molte persone come oggi sono impegnate presso i circuiti e quindi magari è difficile vedere durante l'anno tutto il personale AF Corse che lavora impegnato in officina, perché ovviamente è impegnato a seguire diversi campionati, quindi è difficile dare un numero preciso. A Le Mans, come ho detto prima, vedrete l'impiego principale in cui saranno coinvolte più di 100 persone.
I have to say, you don't need to motivate the team of AF Corse. The most passionate team I ever met. They are highly motivated. They go the extra mile. So motivated are we as drivers. It's a giving and taking between the mechanics and the tire guy and the one who's doing the fuel and the one who's doing the lollipop and the engineers and all that stuff. So I don't think we need to extra motivate them because they're absolutely on their game.
Thank you very much. And good luck for the race.
Thank you. I have no middle name. I'm quicker than you.
No middle name.
I'm a Ferraristi and Ferrari fan for ages. When I was a kid, I don't remember when I saw the first Ferrari. I was a young kid. I grew up in Swiss countryside. Very rarely saw a Ferrari. And when I saw, I think back then, a 308 or something like that, I had a fantastic day. So later on, I was able to buy my first road car, and I went to races, and I was always cheering for the Scuderia and for the GT team. And for me, there was no question that one day I'd like to race, or like to own a race car from Ferrari, and never dreamed about doing racing. So this came quite surprisingly, and it started, I think, 5-6 years ago, and here I am.
I bought a Ferrari from Amato Ferrari in 2015, and this is what became the first time I went to Le Mans to visit the race when Tony was racing in the Pro category. And I was here as a fan, and I got the virus and I was infected from this race, and I not in my wildest dreams I ever could imagine that I raced here with a Ferrari, as it was a true Ferraristi for years.
We need to go there. So this is it. You always have doubts, you know. Are you able to do it? Are your skills enough? You look at the entry list and you hear or you see names, people you look up to it for years. You know.
Practicing these sessions, maybe here on the long straight, press market and give a look because maximum is
As legendary John Hindhaugh once said, you, as a gentleman, you can't participate in the Super Bowl, you can't participate in Wimbledon, you can't do Indianapolis or the Monaco F1, but you can do Le Mans, and this is part of the World Championship, and this is just insane, if you think about it. There was the good old days, GT1, GT2, Maserati MC12, Ferrari 430 GT2. And the drivers there, they were my heroes. I looked up to them. I was too shy to ask for an autograph. And today I race or even beat them, you know, so sometimes. So still living the dream. We are here at our car lounge. It's kind of a car hotel. People can rent one or as many places they need, and they can store their sport cars or collector cars or whatever. So the places where the cars are stored or parked is very high security. and there is a constant temperature, and which is constantly measured, and it's always under surveillance and go. Missing 2 or 3 other cars here, but yeah, I have a story with each of it, of course. Well, that's what was my first race car, the one with everything started. And now it's back to his initial livery. The car did the full WEC and 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2013 as one of the pro cars. As a coincidence with Tony Villander as the pro driver, with which I will do Le Mans this year. So yeah, it started with Tony back then already. Of course, this is I started with this car, which is nobody really understand, and maybe if I would know everything, I would also not have done it, but I'm happy I did so far. They were not so easy to drive, but it's a fantastic car. The noise and everything is really, really great. 458 GT. When you start as a complete beginner, and you start with a car who was developed for professional drivers, the car behaves like it is for a professional driver. The car does not have ABS, it has a lot of aero, so you don't have so much horsepower, meaning that you have to carry a lot of speed into corners and to be fast, you know. And also the braking is not so easy without the ABS versus the GT3s today. They all have ABS, which makes it much easier. It doesn't matter when you brake, you just stand on it, and it's you don't have any issues with the flat spot. So it was, from a learning perspective, was harder, but better at the end of the day. The cars I have here, I have a Ferrari, all Ferraris, Portofino. I have a Lusso, I have an 812 Superfast, I have a 458 Speciale, 488 Pista Piloti. I have 2 race cars here usually, the 458 GTE and the 488 GTE. Later this one is currently in Italy with AF Corse. Coming back at the end of the season, and we'll stay here over the winter. I try to relax and get into the mental game for the next thing, and of course Le Mans, which is the next race, is the biggest and the most demanding one. I come back from a race or a test. I have different bags for tests, I have different bags for different series, and test or race or whatever, everything got washed completely and we repack immediately again. I have 6 identical driver suits, overalls from Sabelt. I have underwear, I don't know how many sets I have. And some stuff is already on the way, as we tested in Aragon this week, and right after the test the car and the mechanics, they went off to Le Mans direct. So one bag is already there with a couple of things. Now I just need to have some more things added. It's gonna be a long week.
Don't say that.
She likes that. I can do it. I lived on my own for many, many years. And I did that. Obviously not correct, as I was told.
It worked for you.
It worked for me. See you in a week.
Okay.
More or less.
Good
right?
luck.
Okay.
most insane thing, of course, was the drivers' parade in Le Mans. It was just insane. I've never seen something like that, and that was fantastic.
Wednesday in Le Mans, and it's time for qualifying for the 2022 running of the world's greatest endurance motor race, the Le Mans 24 Hours.
Have a clean race, let's say the first 12 hours, taking it as easy as possible, and then we're going to see from the performance the night when the temperatures are lower. It's a bit better for our car, so we're going to see what we can do there, and the rest we're going to see. Just finish the race and then we see the outcome.
So I've done 2 double stints till now, one in the evening and one during the night. Yeah, night was tough, but good, no problem so far. Yeah, we had to change the running plan a bit. We were supposed to do triple stints with the pro drivers, but my minimum driving time we couldn't reach like that, so we moved to double. I will drive more than expected, and I had to drive in the night as well. Yeah, now everything feels a bit tired and start to hurt a bit, but yeah, long race to go.
And when are you back in the car again?
Quite soon. I think 5 laps. 5 laps for Simon, and then I will jump in. Another double, and then we're gonna see more.
Was the number 8 car that had fewer problems. They claimed victory ahead of their championship leading rivals, the number 7 team who won the race here last year.
We finished the race in the top 10, I say 7th or 8th, something like that. It was just a dream, and to do that with the team and we had some ups and downs during the race. We had to change plans. Everybody was thrown into or out of the comfort zone. So Simon drove amazing. Tony did fantastic stints. I did pretty okay, I guess. It was funny. I came back from my first stint, so the planning we had, I did the first stint into the darkness, and then again in the morning and something in the afternoon. I came back from the first stint and the engineer said, no, we changed plans. You have to be back here at 2 a.m. You do full night stint. And another one in the morning into the morning. And this was the last one was even a triple stint. And I was a bit, okay, driving in the night Le Mans is a different story, but I said, okay, doing that. And it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. I did, of course, my quickest lap times in the night. The atmosphere helps the car, and it was just I was in another stratosphere. And then we finished the race.
And I saw the team, so happy, the mechanics, they work all the time, more than 24 hours, and you're actually up not for 24 hours. I mean, I got up Saturday morning, 7:30, I went to bed Sunday, 10 o'clock. And I wasn't tired. And I mean, you are a bit consumed, sort of. But you're like on drugs all the time. You're so full of adrenaline. And then afterwards, you're just empty, as I say. But it was great. I couldn't believe it, what we did. I came back home and I went straight to the office. I think I came in 3:20 and at 3:30 I had a telephone conference. I don't know how to say that in English, but my brain was a bit squeezed. Because I drove home 850 kilometers the day after, you know, so no traffic at all, so it was quite smooth. But it was, as I said, mentally I was quite empty. I was quite bit tired. Physically, not really. I went back cycling, I think on Tuesday or something like that. Physically was quite okay. But mentally it was just the level of concentration. You lived in a bubble for 2 weeks. I left the racetrack twice. Once for the scrutineering and once for the driver's parade. And that's it. I stayed in my motorhome at the track. Fantastic. So you're really disconnected from the real world. And then you come back, you have your telephone conferences, you have your emails, you have to do your things, and I want to go back.